Hello, YouTube. This is Benjamin Williams. I'm about to start documenting my process as I study for my CCNP. I recently received my Cisco Certified Network Associate, my CCNA, on March 23rd, 2024. It's currently September 24th, 2024. And like I said, I'm actively studying for my CCNP. And I also want to start documenting how I go through my troubleshooting process within Boson, because I want to just show, how I think about a network, and how I work through troubleshooting a network as well. So up here in the top left, I have the topology that we're going to be working with. And down here on the top right, I should say, not down here, I should say on the top right, I'm going to have my instructions. And down here in the bottom window is where we're going to be doing our configurations on the different network devices. So let's go ahead and read from this window. So the lab topology. Well, let's first read our objectives and start at the top. So troubleshooting hot standby routing protocol number 1. The objective is to analyze, locate, and fix hot standby routing protocol operation problems in the network. So our lab topology. For this lab, your network design will be 4 switches: A switch 1, A switch 2, D switch 1, and D switch 2. Each switch is connected to one another by an Ethernet link. A switch 1 and A switch 2 are access layer switches, and D switch 1 and D switch 2 are distribution layer switches. 2 workstations named Client 1 and Client 2 are connected to the access layer switches on the fast Ethernet 03 port. Upon the initial loading of the lab, all devices will be configured with the IP addresses, virtual LANs, and spanning tree commands needed for connectivity. So again, we have our topology right here. Looks like we have some network redundancy throughout. And then, of course, since we're going to be running hot standby routing protocol, I guess the distribution layer switches will be taking care of that. That's usually a distribution layer operation. So I've already read through all of the commands and the descriptions. So we're just going to continue down. We have our IP address table right here for the router 1, router 2, A switches, D switches. It looks like we're going to be on VLAN 1 for a hot standby routing protocol. Alrighty, so let's continue on down. So trouble ticket 1, hot standby routing protocol configuration issue. Network redundancy has recently been set up on one of your client's networks. The IT manager configured hot standby routing protocol, but he admits he is being unfamiliar with the protocol. He thinks he might have made one or more mistakes which resulted in network failure, so he has been called to fixing the problem. The manager used the following values when configuring hot standby routing protocol on the distribution switches. So it looks like he made a group IP address of 172.16.3.1, a group number of number 3. D switch 1 has a priority of 90, and D switch 2 has a priority of 120. So with that being said, D switch 2 is supposed to be the active, which is we can see down here, and then D switch 1 is going to be the standby because the priority is lower than D switch 2. So it says the hot standby routing protocol state of both devices is active. Create a troubleshooting and verification plan, and then correct the configuration problems. So let's pull up D switch 2 and D switch 1. So let's go to privilege exec mode, and let's just do a show standby on D switch 1 first. So we are in VLAN 1, and I kind of see what the problem is. Now it says group 0, but we're supposed to be configuring as group 3. So I think that may be the mistake. It has the right IP address, it looks like. Let's see the priority. Does that match up? Yes, it does. So it has a priority of 90. So I think the problem is that the group number is wrong. Let's take a look at D switch 2. Let's go to enable show standby here. See a hot standby running protocol configuration, and yep, so it's in VLAN 1 and the group is 3 here. It has the right virtual IP as well. It has the right priority as well too. So let's go over to D switch 1. And let's just do a show VLAN brief just to make sure we got VLAN 1. Oh yeah, it's well, VLAN 1 is on by default, so I shouldn't even have to check that. Interface VLAN 1, and let's go no standby 0 IP 172.16.3.1. Let's get that off. Let's take, yep, so it went from active to init, which is what we want to see. We need to get that configuration off. Let's take the priority off as well. So priority of 90. And I think preemption was enabled. Wasn't? Yeah, it's enabled as well. So let's do a no standby 0 preempt as well to get that off of the configuration. All right, now let's reconfigure it to use the right group number. So standby 3, and it's going to be using the IP address of 172.16.3.1 because since we're running hot standby routing protocol, both these switches are going to be used. And then if one goes down, then the standby is going to take over for the active. So we need both of these to be up for redundancy. So standby 3, yep, so it went from speak to standby, which is what we want. D switch 1 is supposed to be the standby, and D switch 2 is going to be our active. So standby 3, what do we need to do? Our priority, which is supposed to be 90. Context sensitive helps to make sure that's good. And then a standby 3 preempt as well. And let's enter that as well. So now let's do a do show standby. Let's see our configuration. And D switch 1 is our standby. It is in group 3. It's using the right virtual IP address, and it has the right priority as well. So I think, let me just make sure everything is still good over here. So standby, yep, it's still our active router. Yep, everything is matching up for our first trouble ticket number 1. So I think we're done with that one. Let's look at trouble ticket number 2. Network connectivity issue. So after the manager configured hot standby routing protocol on the distribution switches, he changed each workstation to use the new redundancy protocol. Client 1 lost connectivity with all parts of the network after this change. Create a troubleshooting and verification plan and then correct the problem. So we have client 1 right here. So it should be a Windows computer. So ipconfig/all. Let's look at his IP address. So his IP address is 172.16.3.30, which is in the right subnet because it is /24. So that's good. But our default gateway is supposed to be 172.16.3.1, not 3.11. So let's change its default gateway to use the newly configured hot standby routing protocol virtual IP address. All right, and now let's ping. Let's make sure we can ping the D switch 2. Well, the hot standby routing protocol IP address, but it's D switch 2 responding because it's the active. So yeah, we can ping that, and let's go up and get the IP address of the router. Let's do router 1. Let's try to ping out the router 1. See if we can reach that portion of the network. 172.16.253.2. So yeah, we can definitely see that client 1 is now able to communicate with D switch 2 and also is able to communicate with router 1. So it has its connectivity back. So let's make sure that that is right. I believe that's correct. So let's go ahead and grade this. Hopefully we got everything right. Yes, so we did. We got everything right here. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.